Kintsugi by Anoma was exhibited at the Palazzo Bembo on the Canal Grande at the 58th Venice Biennale in 2019. Anoma was the first solo artist from her country, Sri Lanka, to show her art in Venice during the Biennale. Fresh from the aftermath of the Easter Sunday bombings in her country, the artist's work explored the embracing of our diversity and celebrated the seeking of unity and harmony. It was viewed by an audience of approximately 500,000 visitors during the 6 months hang. The theme of the Biennale in 2019 was May You Live in Interesting Times, which was about encompassing the turbulent times we all live in globally, and is very sadly even more relevant today. Anoba's installation inspired us to reflect upon and seek our common humanity in the face of conflict, division, fear, and insecurity.
Kintsugi is a restoration technique which highlights rather than conceals the fractures of broken porcelain with gold lacquer. This process embraces imperfection and celebrates unity in diversity. Inspired by this Japanese concept, my installation searches for harmony and renewal in a turbulent world, embracing the fractured and disparate, deconstructing and reconstructing to find unifying beauty. It was a response to the normalization of unconscionable intolerance, hatred, and loss unleashed by war, poverty, and climate crisis. As the desperate seek security and survival, societies are wounded and people are heartbroken. We all yearn for healing, whether it is in Gaza or Ukraine, London or Lanka. The use of unrelated content, color, techniques, and mediums reflect the diversity I wanted to highlight and yet try to reach a harmonious balance. The mesh cloth of the installation evokes fragility and impermanence, while the laser cutting emphasizes all that is porous and likely to be lost. The mirrors imply the need for mindfulness and self-reflection. I asked the London-based author, Ramesh Gunasekara, if he would perhaps write a very short paragraph about this collection of paintings. His response was a fascinating collection of poems, which re-inspired me to design the Kintsugi book of paintings alongside the poetry. The Los Angeles musician Sharon Smith composed this haunting composition inspired by the paintings and poetry, which in turn led me to conceive and direct the Kintsugi video to bring together the three diverse art forms into one unifying artwork. It was never planned, it just evolved. The many-layered work of disparate ideas, content, and form would not have been possible without this collaboration across 3 continents, and I'm so grateful to them and to the many others who contributed their ideas and skills with such selfless support and enthusiasm.
For this project, I thought I'd explore what can be done with the poem, both in content and form. I took a sonnet that I'd been working on for some time and broke it down to its separate lines. Then, rather than just reassembling it in a different order, I used each line as a springboard for a new poem, so that in the end, the deconstructed poem is reborn in a web of 14 new poems, which all fit together like the pieces of a bowl, creating a new poem sequence that tells us something about the way we live in the modern world, with all that fractures it and brings it back together again.
We live halfway around the world from each other. I chose musical figures and sounds that quietly enter but reinforce the emotional elements of heartbreak, uncertainty, fear, suspense. The musical sounds at the beginning are meant to draw you in to the story. When the cormorant enters, the music tone changes to a kind of identification with the remorseless cormorant. And then music changes to a more rhythmic palette as the story unfolds. And then it is over and the world comes back together, we hope.
Kintsugi invites us to embrace imperfection, unite the broken, and accept the stewardship we share of our fragile and precious planet.
The artist, an alumna of Central St. Martin's, London, has exhibited in London, Dubai, New Delhi, Colombo, Singapore and Sydney, and at Sotheby's, Hong Kong. Anoma divides her time between London and her studio gallery in Colombo.